So I see that center stage is still broken, so you can't move around and it be followed. Um, my GarageBand still doesn't work in iOS 26. We're on to 26.2.1. It's the last week in January 2026, which is why they've renamed everything. So the problem before was that you couldn't get a stereo file out of GarageBand. And that seems to be fixed. But now the problem is I can't even get into some of the older songs, by which I mean 3 months old. So songs made at the tail end of 2025, cannot get into them. You try to run them, and sometimes they run, and sometimes they just crash GarageBand. If it crashes it, the only way to get it to run is to completely reboot your device. You can't just swipe GarageBand away and then try again. The problem with that is that if you're making music it's reasonably important to you, you'll probably be attached to a speaker of some sort. So there's a big clunk, a big pop sound when you reboot the device. Fine. So there's also the issue, of course, with audio units not keeping up to date. And some of them are very prone to that. And I'm just going to name it. The one that's prone to it for me is digitalism. It's made by this particular group of people who it's sort of like, I don't know, are they kind of well-meaning amateurs or something? Some of the stuff's really good, but a lot of the audio units I have trouble with, like they won't remember the settings. So you don't know what patch you used, what sound you used, or maybe you adjusted it slightly and you don't remember it. You just left it there, assuming it'll remember it. I mean, it's gone are the days when you had a paper template and you'd mark everything on it. Okay, so I don't really know what to do. GarageBand is the only software I use, even though I've got the Cubasis version 3 and version 2 still there, but you're not going to use it if you've got 3. And also, there's a few other ones in there. There's Gadget and there's stuff like that. But, of course, Apple have just brought out the whole creator business, so you can subscribe to Logic Pro. If it's not happened now, it's about to happen any day. So I imagine all the software people at Apple and all the software effort has been going into Logic Pro and Pixelmator and all that stuff. So I guess GarageBand and its glitches are going to be languishing a bit. But it's quite a big thing if you've got a back catalogue of songs running into certainly, I've got hundreds of song files, but there's probably only 80 or 90 songs, I would call them as such. Anyway, accessing them's a pain in the ass at the moment. So if Apple, you would kindly look at it and fix it, that'd be brilliant. It's obviously something to do with iPadOS 26 because in 17, it sounds like a long time ago because it's 17 versus iPadOS 26, but of course they jumped after 18, they jumped straight to 26. So it's actually only last year. 17 was a good one. 18, I can't say too much about, but I was forced to go on to 18. And then, of course, there's some extra bits to put into, extra features to put in GarageBand you could only get if you went to 26. So I've been shunted along since 18, since I was pushed into 18, because it just came up the message and said, you can't run GarageBand unless you're in iPadOS 18. And that's the only reason I left 17. I'd still be on iPadOS 17. And I'd still be able to access my songs. So here's the question. What's going to happen first? Are they going to fix it first? Or is it going to be the case that I actually end up trying to find an old iPad so I can somehow get my songs onto it and be able to go from there? This is really pathetic that we got to this stage. What else can I say? It's just, it's a sad state of affairs we're at now. If they want me to pay money for GarageBand, and I did initially, I actually bought it. It's that long ago I bought it. If they want me to pay money, I will. If that's what it's going to take. But I don't think that's the issue. I think it's some political decision. Maybe it's with Tim Cook leaving Apple. I've no idea, and I don't care. The point is, I put my bet on GarageBand, and it was a pretty good bet because they've done lots of things like artificial intelligence drumming or whatever it is that you can change the parameters of and all that stuff. Great stuff, because I don't have a drummer in my backyard. I've got a device here which goes into the iPad Pro and, triggers it if you want to do it that way. Yeah, so Apple, could you please haul people off the Logic Pro and Creator shtick and get them into GarageBand, and please fix it. I'm certain it's something to do with saving files and going through this system they've got to get files saved onto SSD, going in and out of memory, because of the way iOS 26 works, iPadOS 26 works. That's it, really. Needs fixing, because otherwise I've got hundreds of song files I just can't access. It's about 1 and 2 times it seems to crash, and then it'll just keep doing it then once it's happened. You have to reboot the device. You can't just swipe off and come back. That's it, really. But, you don't pay $2,000 for a device and expect to be told by or not told by the manufacturer, this won't run our software anymore. It's not like you haven't given them enough profit. You can buy a Mac Mini M4 for $500, $600, $500, £600. If you want to get a decent iPad with enough room on it so you don't run into problems, you need 75 gigabytes spare, is my hard-won experience. Then you will pay thousands. You'll certainly pay over 1,000. All right, that's it. Thanks very much.